folks. Football season is just around the corner and games are set to begin next Friday. As of this podcast, we're about 250 subscribers short of the 1,000 mark. We need your help. Please share this podcast and others. Please subscribe, have your kid or neighbor subscribe. It's important, not for me, but for the kids in this program. As of now, fans are not allowed to attend any of the games. And so with 1,000 subscribers, we can broadcast live on YouTube and give them, at least to a degree, the experience they deserve to watch their children play this great game. And now with that said, welcome to today's podcast, which I've decided to title When Worlds Collide. I call it that because we have Louie Zumstein, former Spartan player and coach, and now principal at Montgomery High School, along with Julio Alcala, former Aztec player and coach, and now principal of Chula Vista High. Gentlemen, thank you for all you do for your respective communities, and thank you for being here with us on Spartan Nation podcast.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Coach. I think what you're doing is amazing, and thank you for having me.
This has been as I've told other folks, this has been a learning experience for me. It seems like every time I have someone on, I'm learning something new about rivalries, about the history of Spartan football and Spartan ideals in general. So it's been really good. I've also been fired up to have players. I've had a player last 2 nights ago text me and say, where's the podcast at, Coach? I didn't say, because I hadn't put it out yet. So this is becoming a learning experience for them as well. And so I'm actually fired up to hear them listen to what you guys bring to the table, especially with your former experience and what you do for the community. So with that said, give our viewers a history of your playing and coaching days at your respective school. Mr. Alcala, I'll start with you.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. And again, Coach, thank you for having me. And just to give you a little background, I think, when you asked me to be on here and be with Louie, I thought it was really a great idea. I have a lot of respect for Louie and what he's done as a player and also as an administrator in our district. A little story is when I was in high school and I went to a San Diego State game, I remember seeing Coach Mr. Zumstein warming up on the sidelines there with a shiny visor and the Zumstein across his back. And I remember my high school coach telling me, hey, that guy played for Chula. So he's a little older than me. We won't say how many years older than me, but I remember watching him play at SDSU. But anyways, back to me and my playing days. When I was in 7th or 8th grade around there, my mom realized that I needed something positive in my life. And she tried to get me to play for the South San Diego IB Chiefs, Pop Warner organization back then. I was going to Montgomery Junior. And unfortunately, I was about 6 feet, about 180 pounds. And back then they had weight limits. So I wasn't able to play. So the only option for me was to wait till 9th grade and try to play JV football, which I did. And it was the best decision I ever made. That kept me out of trouble. It gave me a bunch of brand new brothers and mentors that were my coaches and my my players. And it really kept me on track, and it gave me an idea of what potentially I could do. So I played at Montgomery High School and I was an offensive and defensive lineman. I had a great experience. Bunch of good friends, good coaches that I was with, and we had some rivalries, with Chula, Southwest, Castle Park. Those were the rivalries back then. We had a great time, I got an opportunity to, as we say, you can't coach size. I ended up being about 6'4", about 285 pounds in high school, and I started getting some looks from some colleges and fortunately, I had, good grades. I had a good SAT score, so I was an early qualifier, and I was able to get some offers. I had some offers to play after high school at the University of New Mexico, Hawaii, Oklahoma State, and Colorado State. I ended up choosing the Rams. So in '95, when I graduated, I ended up going to Colorado State, beautiful Fort Collins. And the decision for that was really, it was a great recruiting trip. I felt at home. And we had coaches that were from San Diego, Dave Lay being the one that recruited me, great coach. And we also had a bunch of kids from San Diego that were on the team, guys like Moses Moreno, Damon Washington, which is my year, Lenny Ray Smith was up there, EJ Watson, Anthony Hill, Tyman Blake, all these guys from San Diego were up at Colorado State. So I felt that the connection with California and San Diego specifically was really strong. So that's where I ended up going. Had a great time, had an opportunity to go to the Holiday Bowl and play the Nebraskas, Oregons, all those schools. And then I got into coaching. I ended up getting into coaching. I coached for 2 years at Cal State Northridge. I was there coaching tackles and tight ends. When they dropped the program in 2002, I had an opportunity to come back. And at that point, I had just gotten my teaching credential, and I came back and coached at Southwest High School with Gil Warren and Dave Lay. At that point, I think we were on track to set the state record for consecutive losses at Southwest. I think we were at 38. So back then, I think the superintendent decided that it was important not to have that record. So he brought Gil Warren out of retirement.
A legend.
Absolutely a legend in the South Bay. So that was a great year. It was a great opportunity to get back into the district. And, believe it or not, we'll talk about this, about being on the opposite sideline later, but our first win at Southwest that broke that streak was against Montgomery, at Montgomery. So I've been on the other sideline before. I know what it feels like. But at that moment, it was about the kids, and it was about those kids those seniors hadn't won a game for 4 years. And to be on that sideline with them that night was amazing. So, that's after that, I got an opportunity to apply, and I was hired to be the head football coach at Montgomery High School in the fall of 2003. And I was there for 9 years as the head football coach. Had a great time. Was able to do some amazing things, and it was one of the best years some of the best years of my life. Being on the sidelines there and watching kids go through the program that I went through. Some of them making it to college to play, and others just being able to stay on the right path and helping them stay on the right path. So that was a great experience for me. I was there for a total of 12 years, and I was able to get into administration as an assistant principal there for the last 3 years before I moved on. And now I'm here. So that's in a couple of minutes here, my experience.
Well, we're glad to have you. I can tell you that. So, shout out to the former principal at Chula Vista High School, right, Ms. Peralta, for bringing me on. But we are very happy to have a very, very pro sports principal here. So I'm very happy for that. How about you, Mr. Zumstein? How about your history of your playing and coaching days?
Yeah, just it was great to hear about Julio's past, and that I know he's a living legend over here in these parts. So lots of respect for him, and especially our staff and our kids know. So it'll be interesting when worlds collide. Can't wait to get there. But I was very fortunate to go to Chula Vista High, and very proud to be a Spartan. And I got there as a freshman. We were back then we were one of the first freshman classes that were allowed on campus at Chula. So there was a small group of us, but I didn't start playing until my sophomore year. And kind of like Julio, right? I was that big, maybe a little chubbier than I probably should have been kid, and we could never make weight. So I played football at the park, or with your buddies out in the street or in the backyard. So not until Coach Chapman walked into the lunchroom one day, and I was sitting there in the corner eating my lunch, and he had a conversation with me, and next thing you know, I'm out there for spring football my freshman year, and just a wonderful experience. That really, I kind of was I was actually should have went to Southwest, but I was always kind of in GATE and honors programs, and my parents really stressed academics, so I was kind of on that route. And then most of my friends in middle school went to Mar Vista High, and I lived right across the street from the boundary. So I was slotted to go to Southwest and got some magnet program email, or not email, no email back then, but in the mail. And my mom was a Chula Vista graduate, so she got it, she filled it out, and next thing you know, I was walking to Southwest High to catch the bus to Chula. And everybody always would talk about how everybody, the football team would recruit, and we'd get all these kids from National City or South San Diego and all these places. But in my situation, it really wasn't that. It was just just kind of the luck of the draw, and then that lucky day that Coach Chapman walked into the cafeteria. I'll be forever grateful for that. So I played JV as a sophomore, and then got to watch Big Joe Hines and some great Spartan teams back in those 80s that every year would have huge battles with Sweetwater, and they were kind of they were always tops in the county at that point in time, and then got to move up later in the year, and then obviously my junior and senior years we had a lot of success, and Coach O and Coach Chapman, and you had Coach Johnson on, and there's just on and on. There's so many great coaches that were there in those days, and even though I got to earn a scholarship to San Diego State, I can honestly say my greatest memories, hands down, were Friday nights. Sitting in the right before the games, we'd always go watch a hit film and get pumped up, and on that 16 millimeter film that Coach Wilson was talking about, we'd go in the dance room, we'd sit there and the lights out and just watch that hit film, start to get excited, and then we'd have the Spartan band right outside that locker room, and you walk out there. I'm getting goosebumps right now. Coach, you walk out of that room and you're ready to roll, and the fans out there, and it's just it's something that's so special. And I had the fortune of playing in front of 50, 60,000 people, and there's nothing like walking out that tunnel onto that field at Chula Vista High School. And so very fortunate, had some wonderful coaches, and happened to be a fairly big guy who can move around pretty well. So like Julio, I had a lot of the Western Athletic Conference schools, like Colorado State, Fresno State, but San Diego State was kind of where my heart was. At one point in time, I was fully committed and I was ready to go to Cal, but my mom stepped in and said, "There's no way my son is going to Berkeley. He's staying home." So I stayed home, and it was the best decision, best decision of my life, and just can't say enough about Spartan football. And luckily I got to become good friends with Joe and Judd, and they got me into coaching, and under a great head coach in Rex Johnson, and then back in my playing days, I was actually Coach Wilson's first class that he got to coach, and just a wonderful group of men to kind of have that foundation with, and just learn not just about football. And in fact, most of what I learned was how to be a man, and how to be responsible, and how to go about your day and your business, and how you present yourself to everybody. And that's I can't say enough how fortunate I was to be there with them, and then to get to coach with them for about 5 years. And at that point in time, I think at one point in time we had a dozen coaches that were teaching on campus, and there's just, I know those days are long gone, but that's something special when you can have that type of camaraderie and connection with the kids and the school, and it's something that's really special. And I've moved around a lot of places, but I always go back to trying to recreate that foundation that we had at Chula Vista High, and that's what I remember, and that's what that's what kind of models everything that I do. So very fortunate to be part of Spartan football for sure.
Thank you for that. And probably one of the, I know Coach Johnson said he had I think he said I had 11 former Spartans coaching on his staff at some point. I'm very proud to say we've got 7 of ours as well. And it's just, you can just see the pride in the school bleed through that. It's not just someone that came in for a hot minute and looking for another school after that. Everybody's committed to turning this thing around and being a part of that. So thanks again for your guys' history and insight. Now, let's get into our next question. Is it really weird to be the principal at your ancient rival? And, for a lot of people, because they don't understand, the inner workings of the district and how things happen. How does that even happen? Explain that to folks.
Well, you know what, it's weird at first. I think, the first few weeks when you're at a new school, it's always a little different, But when we get into administration, I think we understand that the reason why we get into it, at least for myself, was because we feel that we can make a bigger impact across a bigger population of students. As head football coaches, we had our program to look after, and we took care of them. We tried to influence them, and that could be 100 to 120 kids in your entire program. When you become an assistant principal, you have a bigger sphere of influence, and then as a principal, an even bigger one. We are part of the community, not just the school community, but the actual community. We are a hub and provide services to the students and their families. So it's only weird because you're getting used to a new place and a new home. Like I mentioned earlier, I had a chance to be at Southwest High as a teacher and coach, and get our first victory against Montgomery. That was weird. That was really weird being on the other sideline. But again, it was about those students, right? It always goes back to the kids and what we're here to do for them. As an administrator, and Louie, probably will attest to this as well. We're just hired help, and we go wherever we're needed, whether it's Southwest, Castle Park, which I was at Castle Park Middle for a while, Chula Middle, now here. These are students that, like every student in our district, need us. They need our support. The families need our guidance. So, at the end of the day, we're here to serve. We're here to do the best we can for our community, whether it's the football players or the football team or the SCPA program, whatever that might be. That's what we're here to do. How does that happen? I think just like Louie and watching him not only on the football field, but as he became an administrator and a football coach, I can tell you that, he's an individual who's well respected across our district, and his work speaks for itself. And I think as we, grow professionally, how we carry ourselves and how we leads us to these different positions, from resource teacher to assistant principal, from assistant principal to a small school principal, a middle school principal, and ultimately a high school principal. Like Louie said, it's the lessons that we were taught by our coaches and by our parents of integrity and hard work and dedication. It's what kind of gets us to where we're at, and commitment, commitment, no matter where we're at, whether it's, Castle Park Middle for me or Alta Vista Academy, which Louie was there as well, or Chula Vista Middle, when we're there, we're committed to those kids in that community.
You got to rock.
We got to rock. Everybody joked with me when I came up here to Chula High and about getting rid of all my navy blue and throwing it out of my closet and getting a bunch of royal blue. And you know what? That's what you do. That's what you do, because this is home now. As much as I love Montgomery High School and I have a lot of friends over there and colleagues that are still there, and and as much as I love the Aztecs, once an Aztec, always an Aztec, right? But right now I'm a Spartan, and come April 9th, I'm gonna rock, my gear on our sideline, and it's gonna be on like Donkey Kong. We're gonna have some fun, and believe it or not, we're gonna be talking some smack, because that date is certainly circled on my calendar, and I know it's circled on Louie's calendar as well.
Awesome. How about you, Mr. Zumstein?
Yeah, no, just like Julio said, man, it's just, it is all about the kids. I always think about his journey, right? And he was even deeper entrenched in the Montgomery, right? He was the head football coach, teacher here, and then in administration. So he's deeply rooted here. And, So it's going to be interesting to he's coming to our place, his old home, so I'm sure next year it's going to be, I'll have a lot of those same feelings. So, for me, it's just, it's opportunities, right? Like, Julio mentioned all those different places he's been and I've been, and, it's just opportunities open, right? And it's kind of like what you've learned at football, like next man up, next woman up, you get that opportunity, you got to grab hold of it and run with it. And I think Julio will agree. It's like, we have this foundation, and we bleed royal blue and navy blue inside, but it's really it's the lessons and all the things that we learned at our schools that we take with us to wherever we go. And like Julio said, he's a Spartan, right? Just says right now I'm an Aztec, and I had a little easier transition in the sense that I got to be principal at Montgomery Middle for 5 years, so I kind of got to dive into this community for a while and slowly grow into it. So, while it may be a little bit weird, being on the other side and, seeing that CV, and your new Star and Mass logo over there, that's still in my heart, but, I'm an Aztec through and through right now, and, and proud of it. That's for sure.
Well, like I said, I respect both of your approaches to that. Again, you got to rock where you're at. So totally get that. Let's get on to the next question here. Why, and I think this is synonymous with both of you guys, that, you kind of, you're known as athletic principals. I know you're for everything for the school, and you're looking for a holistic approach. But I think sometimes some principals shortchange the importance of it. Why are athletics so important to the identity of the school?
I think, like you said, Coach, I mean, it's athletics, but it's everything, students need something to grab onto sometimes. At times it's music or the arts. At times it's just getting really deep into academics and being real studious. Other times it's a CTE pathway for kids. For me, it was athletics. For me, it was sports. And I think having those opportunities for our students is key, because some of us might not have had an opportunity to get a college education if it weren't for sports. I know that it made it a lot easier for me to go to college and not have any debt after college. I mean, that was all because of athletics. It's important for the school's identity. I mean, we are Spartans, I mean, we have a mascot, we have a logo. I mean, we represent the school every time we go out there, and you have that star on your chest or on your helmet. You got that Spartan logo. You represent Chula Vista High in the city of Chula Vista. I mean, that's what it's all about. Our band has our logo on their uniforms too. We are Spartans and we represent Chula. It's important, and there's a history, there's a legacy, and a lot of that is entrenched in athletics. And there's been many great athletes that have come through Chula High, and also like Louie through Montgomery High as well. And I think it is very important for us to acknowledge that and us to support that, because ultimately, a lot of people said this to me coming up as a coach and as an athletic director and then as an administrator. A lot of times at the beginning of the school year, what's the first thing that we have? The first thing that we have is football. I mean, the first game we play in the school year is usually a football game. And, we've always said that the way your football season goes is the way that the school year is going to go. You have a good football season and you have good pride, and, everybody's fired up about going to the game on Friday night, and kids feel good about what they're doing, and kids feel good on Monday morning after a win. So there's that attitude, that feeling of camaraderie, that you can have with a sport, and I think that's important to have. And you know, programs that are successful, for the most part, they have somebody that supports them from the top, you know, and I think that's our job, to support our programs, all of our programs, not just athletics. You know, for me, football is a passion. I mean, it's special for me and my heart. So, you know, yeah, it's a priority. You know, it has to be. We've got to work extra hard to get, like you said, Coach, get alumni on staff, try to get teachers on staff so they can coach here and make it easier for you guys to do the things that you do, because we know, and I'm sure Louie can attest to this, it's really hard being a football coach at a high school. And nowadays, where everybody seems to believe that the grass is greener on the other side, it's even harder, you know, and we got to do everything we can as the leaders of the school to help our programs out.
Awesome. Thank you for that. How about you, Mr. Zumstein?
I totally agree with Julio. You know, it is the support from the top is so important. I'll remember forever Mr. Acuna, my wonderful principal while I was at Chula, and you know, he was always there, always supportive, did what he could to, you know, now that I'm in my position and not a player there anymore, I kind of even have more, I do have much more respect for what he was able to do to support the athletic programs. And at Chula Vista, right, the 5 pillars, and athletics is one of those. Obviously academics is number one, but you know, student athletes are you know, super important at a school. And like Julio said, right, the beginning of the year with football, you know, it's all about the climate and culture of the school. And that's really where it brings the kids together. You know, whether you know, you're that kid sitting in the corner of the cafeteria or the starting quarterback, right? I mean, that football game is for everybody. It just brings the whole community together, that excitement, that pride that Julio was talking about, you know, that, you know, I wish kids would walk around with, you know, their Montgomery Aztec English class on their shirt, but you know, that's just not the way it works. So, you know, you're part of a club, you're part of a team, you know, the football team, you know, the ASB, the clubs, where, you know, you get to walk around town and wear that shirt with pride and represent, you know, that's what you're doing. And the more opportunities you give that to kids through athletics, you know, just the greater morale and opportunities your kids are going to have in general in your community. And it, you know, it really brings you together. And, you know, when you think about school, right, you know, you're not necessarily thinking about, you know, what you learned in class per se. Obviously that's super important, and that's what you take with you to, you know, your career and beyond. But you really, you draw on those emotions and those feelings you had, and those are usually associated with athletics. And so, you know, I think it's our responsibility to give kids those opportunities. And, you know, I'm sure it's the same at Chula. I mean, we got about half of our student population that's involved in athletics. And that's, you know, that's probably one of the things that I'm most proud of, that we have that many of our kids involved. And, you know, they could be doing other things, right? But to dedicate their time to our school and to put in that hard work, and like Julio was saying with the coaches, you know, I mean, these folks have such a huge passion. They're not doing this for the money, obviously. I mean, they're spending a lot more than they're making, right? So, you know, they're losing money, but they're really leading our youth and connecting them to the school and making them better people, making them the best them they can possibly be. And so, you know, I know Julio agrees. We have a lot of gratitude and appreciation for our coaches and our athletic programs.
All right. Thank you for that. All right. So let's get on to the hard question here. I know we kind of alluded to it earlier, but April 9th, when worlds collide, Chula Vista Spartans will be visiting the Montgomery Aztecs this year. What jersey are you rocking? And are there any side wagers like haircuts or dinner? What we got going on?
Come on, Coach. You know I'm going to be rocking the Spartan blue, man. You know, it's all about Chula High. It's all about the Spartans right now. You know, it's going to be a fun night. I'll tell you that. You know, going back home to Montgomery and to that beautiful field. You know, it's going to be a great night. I'm super excited, super pumped. You know, not just for that, but just for football season to finally be here. We've been waiting for so long. These kids have been suffering for so long, and to see them out there practicing and working hard and getting ready for the season.
Amazing.
I mean, listen, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We got Sweetwater High this Friday.
That's right.
That's going to be a tough test, you know, and you know, all respect to the Devils. But you know, I got my I guess I can't say I got my money on it, right? Because we're not allowed to bet, right? But I'm behind the Spartans against the Devils, and definitely at April 9th, you know, I'll be rooting for the Spartans, of course, and I'll be wearing that jersey. Well, I don't know if you'll have a jersey for me, Coach, that'll fit
I
me.
got you. We'll find one. We'll find something.
But yeah, definitely. And I don't know about a wager. I don't know, Louie. What do you think, man? I can definitely go for maybe let's put a little tomahawk steak on the wager right there, something like that. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm all over that. We're on the same page. I was thinking steak dinner. That's a couple tomahawks sounds good to me.
Yeah, because I know I'm not going for shaving my hair because that thing's falling out on its own anyway. So
Oh, that's awesome. Well, hey, and you guys are former, O linemen too, when you're talking about a couple of tomahawks. So that's
right.
really good. So, all right. Thank you guys for both of that. Final words of Spartan Nation from both of you before we guys get out of here.
You know what, Coach, you know, for everybody out there watching the podcast, I want to thank you for doing this. Our students definitely deserve to be spotlighted, and I know the reason you're really doing it is so that we can get you know, our games streamed on YouTube live. And so for those of you out there that have friends and family that are former Spartans or not, share this with them. Get them to like and subscribe. We're really close to getting our 1,000 subscribers, so hopefully we can get that done so that, you know, those folks that are at home that can't come to the games because of this pandemic that's affected us all can watch it. And you know, that could be something that the kids have for the rest of their lives, because this is definitely a memorable season. And if we can capture it, you know, in that format, I think it'll be great for our students and their families. So, Coach, again, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it. Aside from everything you already do, like yesterday, I saw you getting ready to go wash uniforms and things like that and do laundry for the team. And people don't know that. People don't realize that as a head coach, you got to do all kinds of stuff. So I appreciate you taking the time to do this on top of all that you already do every day. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you, Bob. How about you, Mr. Zumstein? One last word to Spartan Nation?
Just, you know, Spartan Nation, keep it going. You know, just, you know, represent, right? Especially to the football team, you know, just enjoy, relish every moment, you know, represent that CV, you know, like I know you will. I'm super excited that you're doing this. This is an amazing thing that you're doing, Coach. We're going to pull in the Aztec Nation to give a little assist and you know, throw that game-winning block.
They get to see the game too, right?
Yeah, we're going to throw that game-winning block to get you over 1,000. And, you know, it's a great thing for both our communities. And I can't wait till April 9th when worlds collide. It's going to, you know, I got goosebumps already. I got to start getting in shape, walking back and forth down that sideline.
Oh, I'm not even in coaching shape right now, so I'm with you on that. All right. Thank both of you guys for coming here today. That's going to wrap things up. I want to thank Mr. Alcala and Mr. Zumstein for joining us today. And I'd also like to express how proud we are as a Spartan Nation of the great job they're doing for their respective communities. I'd also like to remind everybody to please find somebody, grab their phone, hit the subscribe button for them, whatever you got to do. We need to get to that 1,000 subscribers by next Friday. And not just for Spartan Nation, but for the Aztecs as well. So you can watch that game on April the 9th, no matter who you're rooting for. Please check out our past interviews with legends Coach Chapman, Coach O, Coach Ray Chow, Coach Johnson, Coach Wilson, and as of yesterday, we have CIF Commissioner Joe Hines as well. Also, with football getting into the swing of things, I'll be passing the torch somewhat to our new announcer, Andrew Breitenbach, as he interviews myself to preview the upcoming season. We're working hard for you, so help us reach that 1,000 subscribers. It's not just for us or this channel, it's for the kids and to give their families the ability to watch the games live on YouTube. So hit that button. And, oh, by the way, Chula Vista versus Montgomery will be April the 9th. Players, let's rep the city, and we will see you on the field.